The beauty of this is that the people try to make it seem like there are sides, but that's the whole point. I think people were trying to say, hey, let's all get on the same page. You know what I mean? So that there isn't, because the side of the oppressed people is usually the truth.
It is.
Oppressed people don't have any reason to lie about it or make it up.
Exactly.
But getting on to Juneteenth,
Oh, yes, Juneteenth.
I'll be honest. Normally, the show was supposed to be shot on Wednesdays, and then we were going to shoot it on Friday yesterday, and had we done so, once again my perspective would have been totally different.
Right.
Remember talking to you about Juneteenth, and I was kind of like, I don't know what it's about.
Yes.
You know, I'm happy that it's the thing now,
Right.
and it was the thing before. Trump didn't have anything to do with that. Like, just
No.
cut it out.
I know, and that's insulting to even
Exactly.
insinuate.
And I'm not going to even go on a riff about that shit. Just cut it the fuck out. But it was dope that is here, and it should be here. You know what I'm saying? It should have been in the mix. But me personally, I didn't know what it was, what I'm supposed to do. And so, and then ultimately, I like 4th of July. I love 4th of July.
Yeah.
I love the flag. You know what I'm saying? Like, and for many reasons other than for just the way it looks. Like, I am American,
Yes.
and I don't feel like you have to choose between one and the other. Once again, when Juneteenth came, all those people became Americans. You feel me? That's the
Yes.
that's the reason why they wasn't, as far as I know, they wasn't given a Juneteenth flag.
Right.
Here's the slavery flag.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or here's the Confederate flag.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
There wasn't a specific.
Yeah. No, you became American.
Right.
You're free. You're a
free.
free
With
man
all your
with
rights.
all your American rights. They didn't become Frenchmen or Italians or, you know what I'm saying, Aztecs. You know what I'm saying? No, they became freaking Americans.
That's right.
So,
But they didn't get all their free rights.
they didn't get what they was entitled to.
No.
Like, the check was in the mail. You know what I'm saying?
And it
so
took
to
them.
speak.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To put it super lightly. But ultimately, for all intents and purposes, they were Americans. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they went on for the civil rights. If they weren't deemed Americans, it was like, okay, you guys, you're not Americans. You got to get the fuck out of here. There would have been a mass move to go somewhere. But we're not Americans, so where we gonna go? I don't know. Hey, let's go to Africa. Let's go to Mexico.
Right.
Let's go to Canada, wherever. But no, they were Americans, and that's why they fought and worked hard to build things here in America that they thought were theirs. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, I'm an American, and if I work hard and put myself up by my bootstraps, I can have this business in this house
yes,
and
this
all
land,
this.
and I
Yeah,
can.
exactly.
Yep.
It wasn't work hard and pull yourself up and then get the fuck out of America.
Right.
No, it was get your American dream on.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So,
the one interesting fact about Juneteenth is okay, so it's a June 19th, 1865 is that they celebrate their Independence Day, right? Although it was 2.5 years after President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863. It just took that long for it to get over to Galveston, Texas.
it's pretty much the story.
Yeah.
So there was people who their Juneteenth is probably the day after he signed it. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't, unless all people are free. It doesn't matter if I'm free.
Right.
I'm not free if we ain't all free. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So it's a big deal that it's like, come on, guys, now my brothers and sisters or whatever you want to call them, now you guys are American too. Let's go,
Right.
let's work together and do this. And I'd rather call it Freedom Day. Sure, Independence Day, but then it becomes the Black Independence Day. And I would like for it to be something that everybody celebrates. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, because when it was over, when slavery was abolished, then it was abolished for America.
Yeah.
It was abolished for you too, white man.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, be happy. Be happy. It was a good thing. It was the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, so, sometimes you have to cut deep to cut the cancer out. You know what I mean? And the cancer was gone, and now hopefully we can be in remission and we can heal.
That's right.
So everybody be happy. It's Freedom Day for everybody. It's the day that America said, you know what, freedom, or the day they should have said, you know what, freedom is important.
Yes.
We now when we fight for freedom, it's because we give freedom. We have it, and that's why we want to
That's right.
give it away or smash you in the head with it. But so yeah. So anyway,
Yeah. So happy June 19th.
well,
Juneteenth. Sorry.
what I was gonna get to was I'm glad that I waited because on June 19th, on T4J Radio, we played a lot of speeches, a lot of like just Black centered material
Yes.
content. Malcolm X, Angela Davis. I'm going to play some of them tonight and break them down. MLK, of course. Even Dick Gregory. We played some Dick Gregory stuff, and it was just dope, bro. It was
Yeah.
really dope. And I listened to music, and I've read a lot of articles, and then at that point, I became like really emotional, and it was like, you know what? It ain't about me personally.
Right.
If I don't know what to do, maybe that day I do what I did today. I just learn, and then hopefully I can give that information to someone else.
Yep.
But I can also think about my great great grandmother. Like I knew my great great grandmother. I looked her in the eyes. I knew her, and just like every kid do, you make fun of the old people. And,
Yep.
she probably didn't know who the fuck I was because I'm one of probably 50 great great grandkids she has. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But
She grew up.
exactly, and there was a time where she was able to sit there at a barbecue and look down. Once again, like I told you, my great grandmother was the youngest of her 6 or 7 kids.
Right.
And my grandmother was the youngest of her 6 or 7 kids.
Oh.
And then my mother is the oldest of her 7 kids.
Right.
So, long story short, there was a barbecue, a family reunion where great grandma Russell was able to sit there and have several of her kids, well, 2 of her kids there, which was my grandmother and my Aunt B, a couple of their kids, especially of my grandmother Lola, tons of my grandmother Lola kids,
Yeah.
which would have been my grandmother Lillian,
Right.
and my mom was there.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was there.
And that, wow. That's amazing. All
and
those
not just
generations.
yeah, and not just me, my line, but then there's my cousin. There's Mikey was there.
Right.
No, Mikey, I don't know if he was there. He would have been younger, but Lamont would have been there, and my other cousins, which would have been with my Aunt Ann, and I think my Aunt Sally's kids were there. It was a really big family reunion. My Uncle Emmanuel was there. So these are her grandkids. You know what I'm
Right.
saying, that are there, and I'm the grandkid of the grandkid. You feel me?
Yes.
So one, just imagine that scene. At the time, I'm a kid, so it's lost on me. I'm just there with
Of
all
course.
my cousins.
Of course. You're just
whatever.
there. Yeah, you're a kid.
My grandma Russell, she dipped snuff. I used to think that was I still do, but it's the nastiest thing in the world. And
That's the chewing tobacco?
I think it is, but
Okay.
I think snuff is a little different than chewing tobacco.
Oh.
You kind of put it and like sit it under your lip and your tongue.
Yeah. That's what how chewing tobacco is. You just sit it in there. I see like sports players, that's where they look like they have that lump.
Maybe it's the same thing. She had a nasty ass cup. She was
Oh,
part,
yeah.
She was part Indian.
A spittoon.
She's part Indian. She had long, pretty hair. Even at her old age, she had long, pretty hair. That's the one thing I remember of her. And her skin was kind of like, it wasn't dark. It was like dark red. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A tinge off from everyone else. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
You could see it in your grandma Lillian a little bit.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so,
That's amazing because, see, okay, so great grandma Lola, she was born in 1913. So great grandma Russell,
yeah,
great great grandma Russell had to have been born in the
easily.
1850s,
Yeah, I don't think she would have been that old when she had my
maybe
grandmother.
a little more, maybe
So
like the 60s or 70s,
yeah,
but
easily the 70s.
like, yeah,
You know what I'm
like,
saying? So, you know what I mean? Because then she would have been, if she was born in the 50s, she would have been like 70, 63 when she had my grandmother. I don't think she was
that's
that old.
true.
So I would
So
put
she
her
was,
in
yeah, so maybe
1880,
1880s.
1890, but definitely around the time coming out of the Civil War, a lot of these things were passed and
Well,
enacted.
not to, let's see, if she was born around the 1880, she still, yeah, they were free, but they still did not have all their rights.
She was born to a person that was recently freed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It
Yes.
wasn't like he was free forever. You know what I'm
No.
saying? Like
Actually, he
he
was
probably,
recently freed in his
yeah,
old
he
age.
still had the scars on him. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
In his older age because he would have been born a slave.
yeah,
Your
he would have been born
great,
a slave.
great, great would have been born a slave.
Yeah, he or she, yeah, definitely. And I don't know how old they were. Like her parents, I know nothing about her parents. But you know what I'm saying? Or her husband's parents. I don't even know anything about her husband because the men were gone long. Like my great grandfather, I don't know. He
Right.
died the year I was born.
It's crazy because,
Right.
yeah, they didn't have all their rights, or at least not all their state rights.
Didn't have shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but she got to sit there at a barbecue and sit and watch over all of us. And I don't know how that made her feel. It had to make her feel a sense of pride, like, wow, look at all this blood here. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now, take today, take yesterday, the 19th. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about that. And I'm like, wow, I wish she was here to see this and I could just ask her, like, how was it for you going from a point when you didn't have no fucking sink to a point where you have to share a sink and raise and teach your children to use that sink,
Right.
and now there is no one sink, no extra sink, and you got people in the streets, and you got streets being named after things, and
Yeah.
it's spray painted, and how do you feel? You know what I'm saying? Even my grandma Lola, like she tells me the story of when she first heard King was shot, and she was working, and she just dropped everything she had. Well, I would love to know how she would feel now. You know what I'm saying? If I could just, like, how in Star Wars, the Force Ghosts, if I could just bring up the Force Ghosts. And
Right.
it's my grandparents. You know what I'm saying? The mothers, I'll speak to the fathers too, but I actually knew the mothers. I touched them, and I would love to ask them, And another thing, I don't want to go too much into it, but so what have you been, so that's that with Juneteenth. And the point that I was getting at, to wrap it up, is that once I started thinking of that, then I developed an appreciation for it. That, that self-reflection that, okay,
Right.
I get it. This day is important to me. It's to be taken serious. And now it's time for me to learn.
Absolutely.
To learn.
To learn and learn
whatever.
more.
And there's no limit to what I want to learn now. Like,
Yep.
I want to learn about the roots in Africa. I want to learn about life on the plantation. I want to learn about the movement to overcome and
Absolutely.
all those things. So
Absolutely. And, I guess maybe because of where I was born and raised, or the culture I was born and raised in, there's, a lot of course that I don't know, a lot of history I don't know, and it puts me in a kind of weird position because we are married, we've been, so, all my perspectives is what I hear from you and from your side. And, so I just got curious about a lot of that. And we were watching, you had some You were
Well,
watching some kind of clip.
sorry to cut you off, but the
You do
beauty
that all the
of
time.
this, the beauty of this is that the people try to make it seem like there are sides, but that's the whole point. I think people were trying to say, hey, let's all get on the same page. You know what I mean? So that there isn't, because the side of the oppressed people is usually the truth.
It is.
Oppressed people don't have any reason to lie about it or make it up.
Exactly.
It's usually true. So can we all get on that same page? It did go from there, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's quite okay. Actually, I kind of lost what track I was on, but
You're talking about
you were oh yes, you were watching some YouTube informational shows that you like to watch. And they brought up the Loving versus Virginia,
yeah.
which I found extremely interesting, and it was closer to home for me because it was about equal marriage rights for all. The 14th, which is part of the 14th Amendment.
Yeah.
And it's not that far removed from us, to be honest. Loving, which was Richard and Mildred Loving, who lived in Virginia, and at that time, it was illegal for them to marry, lay together, have any kind of relationship together. And this was in 1950s, I think, is when they started seeing each other. Anyway, they ended up
1950. So
yeah,
that's 50 years plus another 20, so 70 years.
70 years.
70 years.
Now, they fell in love. They got pregnant. They fell in love. They had to go up to D.C. to get married, to become husband and wife. But that wasn't recognized in some of the other, in at least 6 other northern states that were part of the original 13 colonies. And so when they went back to Virginia, they were in violation of their state laws. They were arrested. Of course, he was able to get bailed out. She had to wait the weekend out and then get bailed out, had to go to a hearing. They had to plead guilty to breaking those laws. And for that, they were punished. And instead of to avoid a 1-year sentence in jail, they had to leave the state for 25 years and not return together or at the same time. Of course they did. They were, she was not happy up in DC. It was very different from the country. And I understand that. I understand that now. I mean, look at where they came from, and she goes into this big city that she's not used to. But they ended up getting arrested a couple more times. There was an attorney from university that came to see them. They had some backing, and they helped them out.
He's from the ACLU.
ACLU, thank you very much. They had some backing. They got their case all the way up to the Supreme Court in 1967 on June 12th, where the court issued a unanimous decision to end all race-based legal restrictions on marriages. Now, just to point out, Virginia and Maryland were the first states to enforce the law right after ending slavery. Okay. So, of course, you're going to have all that hate there. Now, a couple of interesting, Alabama, some of the counties in Alabama still enforced the laws until 1970. So even though they passed that ruling, there were still some counties that were still enforcing them if they were caught in some of the other states. 17 southern states still enforce laws prohibiting marriage between the races. It took Mississippi until 1987, South Carolina until 1998, and Alabama until the year 2000 to amend their states' constitutions.
You're spitting out a lot of information here. So let's put some of that information to context.
That's where I was getting at. But okay.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
I want to hear your thought on it.
No, I want to hear your context.
Well, the reason for me pointing all that out is how we're not that far removed at all. They were still enforcing some of those laws up to 1970. That's 5 years before we were born. That was 20 years, 23 years before we met. 23 years before we met. we would still have problems today in some of these states if that hadn't happened.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be able to have our relationship openly if that hadn't happened. And that whole thing really hit home for me. I don't know where our relationship would be, where we would be if we made the decision to move to North Carolina freely because we wanted to.
Hmm.
We wouldn't have been able to make that decision so freely back then.
Okay.
And I really I'm really happy that I guess that we came in after that. And for those who made that happen to us, and June 12th is now considered Loving Day, which I think is an awesome, cute day. And I will celebrate it every year now with my babe.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. What did you think of it? I mean, you watched the movie with me.
It was an interesting movie. It was a good movie. It was it was definitely entertaining, and yeah, I'm like you. I'm glad that they did it, and yeah. But anyway, like I was saying, that was a lot of fucking information, and it kind of felt like school. Let's fun it up a little bit. Imagine you heard the word doppelganger.
Yeah.
Okay. What is a doppelganger? Explain it for
Someone that looks like you.
someone that looks like you. Yeah, exactly. Looks exactly like you. So, I would imagine that in our bloodline, like I've seen pictures of my grandfather, my mother's father, and I can kind of see me in him. But and then like my uncle, I favor him. But I would imagine you go down the line, there's somebody that looks probably like you, and someone that looks like me down the line. So anyway, let's just play that game. So let's start. Look up. So the Revolutionary War was in 1776, but they had slaves prior to that. Look at when the American slave thing began. I believe that was in like 1700 something, like maybe the
The
end.
slave trade?
Yeah. So, but my point is let's go back to 1786 or some shit like that. And your great, well, technically your great would be in Spain, but we're gonna throw them in America just for fun, for shits and giggles.
Okay.
They went back to Spain.
They went back there. Okay.
So there's a girl that looks just like you. There's a guy that looks just like me. It's probably where I got my original hairline. It's where the McNeil hairline came into play. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. For you guys, that's probably where you guys got your lips. You know what I'm saying? Your cheekbones. Mm-hmm. So they look just like us. Just like us. But imagine that life. Now, most likely, you, because they us now, most likely you'd have thought I was dirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd have thought I was garbage, and I would have been there to serve you. I probably would have thought you were the most evil thing in the world. But let's just say, for some reason, we overcame that. It would have been deadly for me to have that relationship with you. It would have been deadly for me to turn down that relationship with you. Under no circumstances would I have been considered in as far as sympathy and any consequences that would have come from that.
Right.
Especially if you were the plantation owner. Mm-hmm. Now, if you were broke and poor, you know what I'm saying? Same shit. Your husband would have been treating me like shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So now let's take that relationship and bring it, I don't know, 1876. 1876, the Civil War is over.
Yes.
All right. And 1876, has Juneteenth happened yet? I know you said it earlier, but I
That
apologize.
happened in 1863.
Okay.
It's 1865.
Okay, so
Sorry.
1863, 1865 is done. In fact, at that time, they passed an act in which they're like, hey, you know, you guys can't do this. I think Reconstruction was about to start.
Yes.
So at that time, we might have been able to be in a place where the ingredients would have been there for a relationship to flourish that wasn't one-sided. Had we gotten together 100 years prior to that, it would have been one-sided. It would have been like an adult fucking a child. Yes, that's I would have been a grown-ass man, but I have no right, no say. I can't consent to anything
Right.
or not consent to anything. And then if I didn't want to, you just say, "Hey, he touched me," and next thing you know, I'm strung up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
I could have been, I'm damned if I did, if damned if I didn't. So imagine your little TMC right now swinging from a fucking tree
Stop.
just because
Stop.
he wants to love you.
Awful.
So 100 years later, sure, I've been freed. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling a little good about myself. You know what I'm saying? But I'm poor. I have nothing, most likely. And what I might have, if I do manage to break the mold and build something up, there's no way in hell I'm building it up with you. The
No.
moment we get together, they taking whatever I got. But okay, I build it up. But whenever a community would build up, that community would get ransacked. So even at that time, we're together, but we're together in the woods,
Yeah.
in
We're
the
in hiding.
in the barn.
Yep. We're in hiding.
We probably not even spending a full night together.
It says here significant starting point to slavery in America. They consider it to be around 1619.
So even then, yeah. So yeah, 1619. The first time you saw me would have been in the market. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Luckily, because my complexion, who knows, whatever, whatnot. Maybe I would have even grown up in the house with you, as the slave boy in the house, and you're the whatever. So I can see a little kissy, something like that happening there. But, oh, I would have known better.
Oh yeah.
I would have known better.
You would have known you were getting into some shit.
In 1860, 76, 1875, or whatever, I would have known better. Same situation. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, Reconstruction, sure, blacks were able to get things and build things up and yeah, even, run for office and do things. But the South was waiting. You know what I'm saying? Now, take 50 years from that. You know what I'm saying? And 50 years before we were born, 1925, what kind of relationship we had been able to have?
Yeah.
Even up north, it wouldn't have been all that peachy keen. You know what I'm saying? And down here in the South, now this is before even the loving family. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm getting hung up and wrapped in Confederate flags. You're probably getting beaten.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not coming out of that good either. I mean, I may not end up being dead. I could.
You probably 50 years before we were born, that person was alive. I met that person. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's where I got my smile. You know what I mean? That's where you got, your cute smirk. That's where you got your wittiness, your sarcasm from the person that was alive 50 years before we were born.
Right.
You feel me? So that's how I got my swag. Well, that person, there's no way in hell that person could have been with you. You know what I'm saying? The odds against that person would have been so fucking, those people would have been so tough. 20 years before we were born, it wasn't fucking special.
Right.
Even up to now, up to a few years ago, like you were saying, it wasn't enforced, it wasn't enacted, but it was there. You know what I'm saying? So The question is up in not the question. The statement is up until that point, we weren't we weren't deemed real. We were abomination, and we should have known better. And the fact that nobody threw us in jail is because we were they allowed it.
Right.
They took their eye off the ball.
Right.
But that case also laid the groundwork for gay marriage. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I'm sure some other things as well. So
Right.
it was a big deal. But just and I would like for everybody to put that in perspective. Like, think about you, whatever the situation may be. Just take yourself and put yourself in that situation. Like, you don't want to rewrite history, and I know it's different now. But take yourself and say, okay, but what if I was alive 100 years ago? What what I'm saying now, apply that to what society was saying 100 years ago. If you're saying save the statue 100 years ago, you would have been saying hang the nigga 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So I just hope people come out of this realizing that
Right.
the same people that looks at the interracial marriage, the interracial couple, and don't get me wrong, man, if there wasn't interracial, if there wasn't the lovings, then 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 you need love conquers all. And I know that sounds cheesy, but it does.
I believe it does.
It does. And sure, interracial relationships are going to have their sometimes even their racial problems.
Right.
But more times than not, I think that union, and I'm not saying that dilute the races or anything. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying let motherfuckers love who they want to love.
Absolutely.
And in the end, that's what that ruling was about.
Right.
But that was another situation where the black man and the black woman wasn't even considered human. They were considered inferior because you can't love. They looked at it, you loving that as the same way you loving your horse.
Yeah. Because they weren't people.
Yeah, sure, we know you love your car, but you can't fuck your car. You sure as hell can't fuck it in public. You know what I mean? So, it's important that people once again, reflect on that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's unfortunate that there are still times where you might feel a little bit of something from someone when we're out in public together, when we go somewhere together as an interracial couple. Somebody might look at you sideways. It still happens. I mean, we're in 2020, but it still happens.
But in the same token, when you see people from a minority and they kind of look at you and sometimes you feel a little certain way because like even my own people's kind of looking at me and I'm kind of like, I had to get away from that.
You think they're judging you?
Well, the reason why I had to get away from it because one, you're my wife. I'm proud to have you as my wife. We rolling. But two, it might not be their fault that they're looking at me like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It might be in the social programming,
Absolutely.
the social construct. You know what I'm saying? That, here's somebody trying to get up and out. You know what I'm saying? Regardless if that love is genuine or not, if he was to love the sister, then he would be down here.
Right.
And there's so much wrong with that. Because one, loving the sister doesn't keep you down. One, the sister isn't down. And two, love doesn't have a starting point.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like just because like you fall in love, sure, if you happen to fall in love with a millionaire, gazillionaire, then sure, you become a gazillionaire once they share what they have with you.
Right.
But love don't give a fuck about that.
Exactly. Exactly. And you're allowed to love who you love.
Love who you love.
I mean, it should have nothing to do with where we're from or anything like that.
So for every so that's all I'm saying is just once again is just a little bit more understanding and empathy going around in the sense of don't be so quick to look at somebody and think a certain thing, but at the same token, damn.
I know. You're making a whole bunch of noise.
But at the same token, don't be so quick to look at look look at the way somebody's looking at you and automatically feel like they are judging you and they are in the wrong. Perhaps they are. I know, right? Well, my mic is about to fall, and it's like it was from the fucking beating it up earlier. Sorry, audience.
That'll teach you to beat up your mic. It's coming back to haunt you now.
You know what? I want to go to a break, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it is kind of funny.
So anyway,
You want to go into a break?
you know what it feels like? It feels like
You know what it sounds like to me? Like there's construction going on downstairs.
it sounds like. Have you ever walked through the staircase in the projects?
Yes.
It has that hollow sound.
Yes.
To it. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It doesn't sound
Like
like
if you're carrying something up and it's banging against the railing,
yeah,
and it just
exactly.
has that echo.
And then the center block, the painted center blocks walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's usually like a beige or an off yellow color and
Fucking projects, man. Like, and
with steel steps.
so 50 years ago, we definitely would have lived in the projects.
Yeah, and I probably would have had trouble in those projects.
Yep, you'd have trouble. I would have trouble in projects.
Yeah,
and not only that, we just wouldn't jobs. Even the fact that we were an interracial couple probably would have cost me things, like in terms of
Absolutely.
jobs and opportunities. Probably would cost you. So
Actually, when we got together one time, when we were together when we were younger and we were getting an apartment together, we were actually denied an apartment because we were mixed. We were a mixed family.
yeah, so we felt it out as well. So, big up to the Loving family. I believe the only one that's alive now is the daughter and her
Peggy.
and her children. But we definitely thank that family, and Loving Day would definitely be on the T4J calendar.
Absolutely.
In fact, I feel like from Loving Day to June 19th is going to be a time that we celebrate and really put out information. So starting next year, guys, stick with us all year, and
Yep.
and then that year let's celebrate.
Yes.
Let's celebrate some love, because the world is too small. The world is too small. We are all here, and it's enough with trying to tell people how to be a person. And a lot of this is what this shit is all about. Control is, let me control your humanity. And that's never going to be good.
No.
So we are going to take a break here. I think it's
You want
time.
some wine?
Yeah, it's time for a fill up.
Yeah.
So let's just take a quick 5-minute, and then we'll be right back.
All right.
All right.
See you soon.
Peace.
Like I'm talking like late 70s, early 80s.
In the place to be. In the place to be.
It's like, hello, 1981 call. They want their beat back.
TMC is the place to be. What? I get funky on the mic. What? Oh man. Alrighty. Yeah, it is a little 80s
80s hip hop.
or like 90s West Coast vibe, but early 90s. Like I can see like DJ Quick,
Yeah,
flexing
exactly.
on something like this, you know what I mean?
I'm glad you saw what I was throwing out there.
Yeah, I feel your vibe. you know your beats.
I think so.
You know your beats.
I think I'm pretty good with those.
Beats by JMC.
Yep, coming soon.
Yeah, coming soon.
Keep checking out Hidden Closet.
I had to get a refill during the break.
You got your wine?
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of the ones we got from wines.com?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a nice little red,
Yep, we put that. Yeah. I think that wines.com is pretty cool. They got some good selections on there. And we are lucky enough to now be able to offer some coupon codes to some of our interested parties out there in our
Oh,
Hidden
word?
Closet. Yep, absolutely. I think we've never been the bougie type where we join a wine club and we pay like hundreds of dollars for these wines and stuff like that. Actually, these are really great wines at really good prices. Right now, we're
Delivered to your door.
delivered to your door, Corona free, contactless wine delivery. And for new customers, if you use our new promo code new 2020, you'll get 20% off.
Oh, sweet.
Yep, your first order. So that's NEW2020. And check out Hidden Closet. You'll see the link on there for wine.com. We have some great sales on there, or they have some great sales on there, like 50% off.
Now you really
Some
firing
wines.
through
Oh
this.
my gosh, because I love being able to save money on things that we buy so often.
I can tell you got your notes because normally you're like freestyling them, but this one you're like.
It's so new right now that I'm so excited about it.
Okay,
you
all right.
know?
Well, wine.com. I'm excited about it because I like wine.
Yes, and yeah, I don't like wine, but I like getting it at a good price. You know,
And while
I feel like I've accomplished something.
And while I don't mind going to a store, to be honest, with this lockdown, getting
Yeah.
it delivered at the door is great. But I
Right.
have gotten it delivered at the door even prior to this with other companies. But wine.com is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And, well, excuse me, they're bleeping awesome. And yeah, so go to Hidden Closet and
Yep, click on
Yeah.
there, and you'll get some great deals.
wine.com.
Wine.com. Drink up.
Drink up.
Drink responsibly.
Yeah, yeah, that's what you do.
Well, right now you have no choice but to drink responsibly because you're not supposed to go anywhere. So just drink.
Yeah, do what you do. I mean, I don't know what to tell people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I kind of like
Have a glass of wine, sit back, listen to some good music, chill.
listen to some good music, talk about some cool things.
Yeah. Listen to TMC4JMC show, catch up on the newest.
Thanks for watching. And to see more T4J content, please visit TMC4JMC.com. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff because we appreciate your support. All right? Peace. Cool.